Hi, everyone. I'm Kyler from the Content Mix, and I'm excited to be here with Mickael Bensassi and Vikrant Agrawal from Berlin-based Great Content, a global leader in the field of multilingual SEO and e-commerce content creation. Welcome, Mickael and Vikrant, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. Hi.
No, it's great to connect with you guys, and as I said before, they're tuning in from Berlin, and I'm based in Madrid, so it's really cool that we can connect, even if it's in a virtual platform. But just to get the interview started, I want to start with Mickael, and could you just tell us a bit more about your background and basically how you got into marketing?
Yeah, sure. So I'm French, as you can hear probably, and I studied marketing basically with a specialization during my studies in my master degree back in Dijon, in the Burgundy School of Business, and then this interest in marketing got me into the travel industry, where I worked for different hotel groups in Europe and also in the Middle East. So just to name a few, Radisson or Rotana. And then I moved to Berlin 5 years ago, and I moved to the travel tech field before joining Great Content a little bit more than a year ago.
That's great. So you like to travel, which has been something difficult in the past couple months. We can't do it, but hopefully we get back
optimistic.
Yes. And what about you, Vic? Could you did you and Mickael know each other before Great Content, or how did you guys meet? Tell us a bit more about your story.
No, we didn't. I also joined Great Content a year ago. I guess I joined 2 months before Mickael. So Mickael was actually my first hire. So that's how we got to meet.
Wow.
Really awkward telephone interview, because obviously COVID was pretty new at that point. And then we also had to figure out, I think Mickael was also the first person to be onboarded fully remote, and we actually only met in person in summer then, sometimes, when it was allowed to meet.
Yeah. And that's
was really weird. So I actually know Mickael more or less only like this.
Only remotely. Which is crazy. We've had that too in my experience. It's just people come in and out, and you're just meeting them online, and it's just so strange that you have all these relationships with people that you don't know in person. But it's also cool, right, that we're able to connect and kind of.
Well, it's sad because Mickael is actually a really good cook. So he was in the office, he always brings something awesome to eat, and especially baking is also one of his great assets.
I know everybody needs my banana bread in the office, but
one day soon you'll be able to have some banana bread.
I hope so. So as I said, I also joined Great Content around a year ago, and like Mickael, I'm also specialized in marketing. I'm German, so I studied in the University of Mannheim, and then I went to Sydney to do the tech part. And my way towards content marketing is a little bit different. It's a more entrepreneurial view on the whole thing. So I was already in university, I started different companies and continued doing that after the university. It was always around digital marketing and connected to digital marketing, of course. So I'm doing this almost since 20 years, but it was also agencies which I joined, which started companies over there. And my last station, for example, was media-based, and I sold that company to ProSiebenSat.1, which is a big German TV. Actually, they broadcast company. Yes, and I did that for 2 years then, and now I wanted to do something else, which was a little bit more between creativity and, let's say, the performance of media. And that's how I found out, actually through my network, about Great Content. And I joined as a co-CEO in March last year.
That's awesome. So you guys both, as you mentioned before, work at a company called Great Content. And can you explain a bit more about what the company does and who is your main audience?
Right. So Great Content is an online platform, and it's one of the leaders in the creation of SEO and e-commerce content, and actually any B2B content. And what we do is, I always try to explain it. We have a network of 30,000 linguists, we call them. So linguists for us are freelancers who write, edit, or translate text.
Right.
And and they do that in 30 languages, right? So that's one part what we do, and we offer the access to this either as a self-service model over our platform, or we also help you to create content with our project managers, but which is absolutely not mandatory.
Right.
And what we also offer next to the access to the linguists and let's say the knowledge how to do it is a software which is very focused on creating a lot of content. Yeah. So if you create a lot of content pieces, you have very specific needs. Yeah. You need to brief them efficiently. Right. You need to make sure that the status is correctly mapped, that you know who's working on what content. Right. And of course, you want to do some quality checks. And the quality check at the end is, has different variables. So you can also, see whether all the keywords are in there, which you want to have in there if you're an SEO professional, or whether this is a plagiarized text. And this is all what's taken care of.
It's fantastic. And especially, having that talent database, right? We have all these people, 30,000, as you mentioned, all, working in the target markets and all native speakers. You're offering a really great service for companies that don't have that access. They don't have those resources. That seems fantastic.
No, exactly. And they might also not need this access all the time, right? So this is where we come in. And as I said, we're also, so we just actually really have launched the self-service model really new. That's something we did during the pandemic, because also obviously business on some branches slowed down, like for example, the tourism industry, which we are really big. So we used the time to really work on our platform, and what we really now are focusing on is to educate people how to use a content platform, how to create great content, not only produce it.
For sure. And Mickael, could you explain a bit more about the tourism industry? You guys work a lot with that. What kind of clients do you work with?
It can vary from hotel groups or online booking platforms, or which are also promoting destinations, hotel venues, or any other could be camping sites. Now we see also a big trend over the last year with homes, which are used more as accommodation for the tourism industry rather than the classic hotel room. So yeah, that's the wide. I also discovered, because I was mainly focusing on hotels before, I also discovered new type of tourism actors. And I think we see as well that they are preparing the bounce back, and hopefully we can, because we have also a lot of linguists very passionate about, very enthusiastic about writing this kind of content. So we hope for both sides, and also for us, that we will see more of this in the future.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, it must have been an interesting past year with the tourism industry, and kind of, I don't know how you guys adapted to that, or, I think a lot of things have shifted, within the industry itself and how we're approaching travel now. I don't know if you have any comments about that.
Yeah, well, obviously, I think some sectors will be hit differently by also long term by the pandemic than the others. So my personal view is obviously that first of all, private travel will bounce back because people want to travel, want to explore the world. Yeah, and if you want to see it differentiated in that field, it's for sure that currently people are focusing on domestic holidays. So we have a lot of people asking to do Spanish content in Spanish for Spanish people, and German content for Germans in Germany, and not so much international travel, but domestic European travel is definitely going to bounce back first. And one thing which nobody can gauge is what's going to happen with business travel. So these are the clients which, are taking a risk probably in their business model now, and that's going to be interesting how they're going to deal with this. Because obviously, we are doing this interview like this now. This is also
right. Changing
right?
how it's going, yeah. But also the demand definitely going to be there. I think we're all been cooped up, right, for so long that we're all like, as soon as we can travel, we're gonna go.
Yeah. I think I don't know how many travels you planned this year. I think I'm already planning my 4th travel, which is not happening. But let's see how it should happen. I hope.
The only traveling I've done is to the U.S. That's the only place really I can go, and then within Spain we can't really move around. So it's kind of it's been interesting. We can't leave the province or like the region of Madrid, or it's kind of it's been bizarre. But we're hoping soon to get back, up and running. And tourism so much. It's great. It's an important part of a lot of European countries. So I'm hoping that we can get
yeah, right. I mean, in fact, we were having a booth on the ITB, which is the biggest tourism fair. And we were really preparing to go there. That was actually, I think, 3 days before the big lockdown started or so, and then we had to stop it. And then we were sitting on a lot of merchandise.
And little did we know, the big lockdown, we thought maybe it would be a couple of weeks, and it turned into what we are now. But we'll get back, and it's great that we've had the time to really fine-tune a lot of different things and make sure that, in your case too, your content is great and ready to go once the world reopens. But kind of to shift gears now, I'm curious to hear more about Mickael and your role as a marketing manager. What is your day-to-day life like working in a content agency?
Well, it's hard to describe because, as you can imagine, also Great Content, as many other companies, I presume, we adopted very early in the COVID crisis an agile structure, which means that for a while I was called by Vic the Swiss knife, because I was with my experience on a different field, I was trying to help also different departments. And now I would say the typical day, my main focus has been, for example, the management of the inbound. So very focused on lead generation, experience that I also gained before. And making sure that people who are requesting our help, potential customer, we find a way to answer them, and we find a way to bring them the right offer, and so to provide also them the right content. And for that, we have our website, and we have a blog in different languages such as French, English, and also German, of course. And one of the other tasks I had been working was also finding opportunities to put great content on the spotlight. So thanks to Vera Content, for instance, having this very interesting interview. And as Vic said, beginning of the year, we'll relaunch our new platform, and also together with this new platform, the website, which is brand new. And the idea was to, of course, organize migration of all the content from the old website to the new one, creating new content, and trying to identify accurately our target audience and so on and so forth. So that was very big diversity in the task I've been having in the last months. So
definitely a lot of challenges, but
and I prefer that than a routine of I know what I'm gonna do in the morning, I know what I'm gonna do in the afternoon. I prefer the spontaneity of that I can have at Great Content.
I agree. Especially now when things are so stagnant, it's good to have some spontaneity, in the workplace. But also for the listeners, if you haven't checked out their website, definitely do it. It's fantastic. And kind of comparing now your role as a marketing manager to the role of a CEO, Vic, could you explain a bit more about your day-to-day task as CEO?
Yeah. So first of all, I have to say I'm not the only CEO of Great Content. So we are splitting the responsibilities. So I have a great colleague, Danny, who's taking care of the product and the finance side. Quite unique. Normally people who do finance do the product, but we have it like this. That is of course a great help, because it enables me to focus on the other parts of the business, which mainly are marketing, sales, and the project management, or let's say the customer success on the platform.
Right.
And so these are the main areas I am responsible for. And so I have a routine part of the day, and I have the rest of the day which is not routine. And my routine part is it's the time between 9 and 11:30, and after that I'm actually really flexible in what I'm doing. So in the first part of the day, I actually do dailies with the teams. As Mickael has already said, we have an agile structure. So Mickael is not only the Swiss knife; he's actually a French knife. Great knives too.
Right.
So what we have done is we have that it's actually more or less a matrix organization. So we have squads and we have chapters. So in chapters, we have the people who have like the same background in education or skills, but in the squads, they are more focused around what they are doing. So we have, for example, one squad which is taking care of the activation and success of anybody who's visiting the platform.
Right.
On the other hand, we have people who are making sure that there's traffic coming in onto the platform. And then we have other people who are helping, actually really working on this project. And these are the teams I have meetings with in the mornings. And then after that, I really try to work on the company and in the company,
right.
Which is, it's pretty diverse. I mean, obviously we're doing a lot in marketing at the moment. Also in understanding how to make the platform easier to use, which is really hard because you're using it day to day, so you find it easy. So it's obvious you have to step back and have a look at it and look from an external point of view. Okay, what can you really do better? And that's what we're focusing on.
That's great. And yeah, totally true. Once you're so used to using something and trying to explain to somebody else, it seems so easy to you, but it could be quite difficult for somebody else that has no idea. It's just like science, right? When scientists explain things, it's like for them it's so easy to understand for the normal person. But
it really helps to have kids. So I try to look at these things like a 4-year-old. And sometimes you let my kids play with the platform.
Just to see how it works, right? With them, kids are always the best judge, right, of things. They always are very honest. And just kind of speaking about the platform, like say I wanted to use the platform, can you explain to me a bit how it works and kind of what makes it different from other
Sure. Well, first of all, maybe to understand what we offer. So we offer two kind of services. We offer content creation and we offer translation. And what we've started with now with the new version is to really make content creation super easy. And we can translate any content in other languages with our network as well. For the linguists. And what we have done now is we have broken down the process of content creation in its success factors. And the factors of good content creation are having the right person which writes the text, and making find them, and they should be also available, which is another thing.
Of course.
And then the second success factor is telling or making clear what you want, in a way. I mean, obviously you do with the briefing, but even that has to somehow work. And the third factor is mainly to let as much as possible be checked by a system and not by yourself or by any other. That's obviously a third part. So what we do is, and this is what the platform actually enables you to do. So we have we have a lot of different briefing formats you can choose based on what you need, which is best practice, which we always adapt, and we can actually really help you to create a good briefing. We help set up linguist groups, so not finding the right linguist, but finding the right group of linguists, because again, I mean, they're linguists, right? They could, might not be available, so we try to have a group of people who know you and who can actually interact with you. That's what the platform enables you to do and choose yourself and also manage that.
Great.
And the third part is making sure that you get what you want. That is, you can actually specify a specific layout. Say, I want to do a blog article and I want to do it out of an SEO focus. I can make sure that it really has the headline, the subheadline, all the bullet points, and this is where the author can fill in the stuff. And also make sure that, as I said, that the text is really original. It's checked against plagiarism in an internal database and an external database. It's also checked against keywords, which really gets tricky if you're doing it for European languages, right? Because the keywords in the other European languages are not just the words, but are actually stems, word stems, and obviously checks the grammar and all the other things, which just make a great text.
It's fantastic. And yeah, so it's kind of interesting to hear how like all the different facets of the platform and how it works. And yeah, it just seems really like a lot of collaboration. It really fosters a lot between the client and between the linguist. And there's a lot of different things that you cover with it, which is really interesting and something that's really, in demand in the content marketing industry, especially when you're working in multiple languages, for sure. But kind of to learn more about like a campaign or anything that you've worked on that's really been successful, Mickael, could you explain maybe a situation or a client or a success story that you think was that worked really well with the platform?
Yeah, of course. Well, again, something very focused on the relaunch with relaunch of the new platform that we officially did the beginning of the year, February. So we decided also beforehand to look at our client base, past customer, existing customers, and also potential customers. And we did a big emailing campaign in 4 languages, and the idea was, of course, not to be too sales pushy, because we know that especially in those times, that's not the right message that you want to send, but more that hey, we've been working a lot during this COVID time to make our platform easier to use. Just please connect, use it. Feel free to ask us. I was providing a lot of onboarding during that time because we had a lot of, also past customers being just curious about the innovation, and that brings me to this point that despite the circumstances, people are still willing to discover new things. Even if the budget are not here today, they're still trying to keep up to date with the new technology in the content marketing field. And our audience as well welcomed the platform. We gathered a lot of feedback, so it was not only a marketing sales oriented campaign, but also for IT team that was very interesting to get the feedback from the users. And then this is how you can basically improve a platform. It's not being focused on yourself and what you think is good, but also listening to what other people think and see your product. So I would say this campaign around the platform.
That's fantastic.
To add on this, so what happened now after they have used it is that we have actually quite big online shops which are already moved to the new platform, really leading ones in Germany and also France. And we also obviously have really tapped into different markets. So, I mean, we're really strong in tourism, and we're also going to stay strong as tourism, fingers crossed. And we also are really strong in e-commerce. But we have really also tapped into a new market, which is blog writing and let's say services to B2B companies or any company who needs a company blog, right? And there you could see, I mean, obviously, if you have a big online shop and you're in constant demand of content, that's something you can also just give to an agency. You can also just give to us and run it by the platform, obviously. Or you have also the right personnel to create high volume contents, right? So these are all really, really mature in their content needs, and we were catering them either because they had the expertise or because they had so much volume that they could just give you the whole project constantly. And now we also have a lot of clients which are in need of professional content, but do not need it all the time, or actually want just sporadic, or just want to have low content volumes, but really want to still do it themselves. And the new market we're tapping into, and that's really working extremely well. I mean, it has its, teething problems. Yeah. So let's say the first 2-3 beta clients who went on the platform discovered a lot of bugs for us. In February, we did a soft launch then. But thanks, not only our marketing teams are working agile. I mean, of course, the tech teams are working also agile. We have a very big tech team, and they ironed out the bugs really fast, I was really impressed by this. I mean, they're talking one day, half a day or something, bug there, which is I never saw things like that, and. Before, and so now we're really focused on enabling these kind of people. Yeah. So anyone who's listening, join the platform. You will be approached by most probably Mickael with the need if you're onboarding, have a look at the demos and let us also know your feedback.
That's fantastic. And it seems like, you've checked all the boxes now with the tech team and all the different things that you're looking at and really focusing on the client, which is fantastic. But you guys mentioned blog posts and SEO, and that's something that, I think it's great, and it's organic marketing, and a lot of people don't realize how powerful a blog post can be for a company. Do you guys have any tips on how to get SEO right? I think a lot of people are worried about, what is SEO and kind of how we can use this tool to really help bring traffic to our website. And I kind of want to see if you guys have any tips or advice.
Absolutely. I mean, we're working with so many SEO guys out there, but I'm pretty sure our marketing guy can answer this question.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for letting me. Yeah. But you will probably add some stuff, Vika. I do not worry about that. In terms of, I think you're right. Well, there is never any perfect recipe. I always believe, and I think that's a rule that everybody will agree with, that you always need to answer questions to your audience, to your audience when it comes to content marketing. And not only keyword should be the focus or the priority any longer. So we saw in the past also at Great Content, people doing briefing and requesting to have a lot of keywords, and that's also our job to tell them, no, this is maybe not the right direction you want to go as marketing and SEO experts. But we see a trend which is more built around what we call a content hub. So we basically think that any company should cover a topic with a main piece of content, something that is very expert oriented, and then having this piece of content being as a hub, as an airport, and connecting to and mapping to other shorter content, which also answer sub questions to this main topic. So it's all about having content wisely connected to each other with a strong piece made by an expert. And for that, we have expert linguists, for instance. And for the rest, I invite you to read our blog, because we launched new blog posts on our website where we try to address and tackle every trend of SEO marketing for different industry, because SEO can also vary from an industry to another one. So again, there is no recipe, but at least that's the small advice I can provide.
It's great. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, for people that want to learn more about SEO, check out their blog. I'm sure it has great information, and it's kind of a confusing world for people that don't understand it at the beginning. But once you get it, you can see how powerful the tool is. So Vic, what skills do you think are most important for marketers these days? Especially now we're kind of navigating unforeseen waters.
No, well, absolutely. I think when we can see it with our own team, and also with all the people we're talking with, because a lot of marketers are asking us finally for content. So I think the role of marketer has really evolved during the pandemic, and it means that it has really also moved even more to the digital world, right? So I think even more consumers and companies alike are relying on the internet to discover new things. I mean, that's basically the only place you can discover new things. Cities are closed, right? But even for a business person, I mean, the fairs are closed. Face-to-face meetups. I don't know, just meeting someone for lunch. That's really complicated nowadays. They all turn to the internet, right? So a solid understanding of digital marketing is probably the most important skill which a marketer needs to have. And digital itself is a very, very big field, right? So I think the question is whether you want to have a broad understanding of everything a bit, or whether you want to have a deep understanding of something. Let's say, I mean, the three fields I know are really, really important currently are to either understand advertising and trafficking for paid marketing campaigns, or in the SEO part, which is the organic part, which you have to invest on today, but you only reap the fruits 3 to 6 months from now. And so the content side. or even knowing then what to do when the leads come in, because once they come in, they usually do not come in like one by one. You have a long period with nobody coming in, and then suddenly a lot of people coming in, which means you'll have to have a good CRM and technology backbone to cater these inbounds. And so having a solid understanding of how all these things are working together, I guess that's the most important skill a marketer needs to have these days.
For sure. And it seems like from what I got from that was adaptability, right? Being able to adapt to having a high demand to low demand, but also to adapting to the times and kind of what, adapting to what people want or are looking for in the moment. It's something that we've learned a lot in the past year.
Yeah, absolutely. But I guess, if you want to go that broad, I think adaptability is a good is a good trait, anyways. Always.
Yes, always.
And we all had to adapt last year because of something. But I guess everybody has to adapt all the time nowadays for something.
For sure, we can't resist change. Clearly, we can't.
Mickael,
what do you think some companies are getting wrong when it comes to marketing?
Well, I think these questions kind of I can come back to the previous point I mentioned and explained. In my experience, I saw sometimes also in my previous job people very only focusing on the traffic, which I think is wrong, because at the end of the day, I think especially marketing it says when we say that they have to work together, it means that you want to have quality leads versus a big amount of traffic.
Right.
Brings me to the point of stuffing with keywords or stuff like that should not be a priority. And what you want to do is to answer the right questions to the right audience, because you don't want to be overwhelmed by non-interesting audience. So as I said before, it's about having a meaningful, insightful, big piece of content written by an expert, and making sure that your blog or your website is well connected with different pieces of content which answer all of the concerns of your existing customers, which is important, but also the potential ones that you could attract.
Exactly. There's no one way to do it. It's kind of more you have to listen to the client, the customer, get their brand, and also listen to the market and see what's in demand at the moment.
Yeah. Instead of being
it's easy to get to bottleneck it and kind of think about one thing and get siloed about thinking about, okay, I'm going to do this for every client or every post that I do or in every campaign I work on. It's kind of a big, I guess people fail sometimes, when their campaigns, because they think that way. But you have to think more on a broader scale, which is so important. And Vic, kind of for those who are just starting out in this industry, content marketing, a lot of people haven't heard about it before, but are interested in it. What advice would you give them for someone that's just starting out?
Well, somebody who's starting out, I would give them the advice. First of all, I tell them it's a great time to start out now, right? Because what happened is during the pandemic is actually that people have got more accessible. Yeah. So it's really easy to get into contact with anyone. You just reached out to us and we were like, yeah, fine. A video conference. How many people were technically not able to do this before the pandemic? Now, even grandmothers can do and are doing this. Yeah. And not so technically adept, but grandmothers are really good. I found out. And
not mine.
Well,
but some are tech savvy.
And so literally everybody's just a video meeting away, right? It's you don't have to go somewhere. You just a click and you can talk to someone, and if it's not interesting, you can actually just space off and do something else.
Our access to talent is incredible now. We have talent. You can connect with anyone.
Yeah, but also expertise, right? So and it works both ways, right? So I've been contacted by a lot of entrepreneurs to give them feedback on ideas. I ask a lot of people for valuable feedback, which I think, just to answer the question I currently have. So the great tip would be to start asking away. Yeah, Just people you want to talk to. And I mean, if you think I can answer a question, feel free to contact me as well.
For sure. It's all about kind of networking and putting yourself out there, just to see and learning from each other and contacting people who are experts in the field and learning firsthand.
Yeah, for sure. I would not, I think you asked us also, what are good recommendations, right? For books and for content. But one thing you also have to take care of is not to over research stuff, right? And the pure amount of content out there, I know that's probably not a good thing to say if you're working for a content company, could also kill you. Yeah. So or just inhibit you to do anything else. Yeah. Because you just consume content. So I have a lot of people who are just reading,
right, and not
trying to get the information right, but at the end, I'm not focusing on doing stuff. So I guess that's one thing you should not forget. So asking people is a great way to also get starting, because it's in between, right? So you read something, you ask people, and then you do. So to get away from this content is probably also a good idea, just to ask people and interact with people.
It's so important. Yeah, kind of finding a balance between, the theory, but also the practice of doing it. Absolutely. It's so important to practice and make mistakes. I think it's so important that we make mistakes and we kind of learn from how we could have done this better. And that's how we become more experts, right, in our fields. It's just by learning on the go. And you mentioned, so for our listeners, we always like to ask our guests about their recommendations about different things, because people here for knowledge sharing kind of want to learn more about how they can improve. And I think one big thing we've all learned in the pandemic was daily habits, and how to make good daily habits to keep us motivated and to have success, whether it's in our careers or our personal lives. And I wanted to see from both of you kind of what kind of daily habits do you incorporate in your lives that you think help you become more successful?
Well, Mickael, you want to go first?
Yeah, at Great Content, we had the chance to go to the office during last summer, but it didn't last long, unfortunately. Yeah. But since then, that's very nice, because we have all of those meetings online, so we never lose the connection with the rest of the team. We are very, very open regarding this, and we continued as much as we could doing some event gathering. So we're not physically gathering, but like yesterday we did a pub quiz, for example. So we try to keep this tradition of having some small team events, even though this is online and there are tons of opportunities. So I think that's one of the key to keep the team spirit. At least for us, it worked.
It's so important. Yeah, we did that a lot too in our lockdown here in Spain. We had coffee breaks and we did yoga during 15-minute yoga session. It's really important, even though we're not physically together, to keep that bond and to keep that interaction during the workday. And for you, Vic?
Well, I mean, business on the business side, Mickael's absolutely right. So we try to have as many interactions as possible, even also with clients. Yeah, and I mean, they do feel the same way, right? I mean, at the end, it's also another person sitting. Either they're stressed sitting at home because they have a lot of children or whatever going on, and everybody's trying to manage that, or they're really alone. Yeah, alone, sitting alone. I have a family. I have 3 kids and a wonderful wife. So there are 3 boys. They're 6, 4, and 1. So it's always life in my house. So you probably also heard that during the calls. I'm sorry. Well, that's life. And so it's also important for them. It's also important to have a daily routine. So obviously, just having daily stuff and just continuing daily routines.
So important.
Right.
Yeah. And for me, I was alone for 3 months when we were locked down in Spain, and it was quite strict. And that helped me so much, having a routine and continuing with exercise and working and, making sure I schedule things to make sure that my life wasn't just a, Groundhog Day repeating over and over again, which it's very easy to do, right?
That's a great movie too.
Great movie as well. Recommendation as well. And then in terms of apps and tools and platforms or books that you guys use, do you have any recommendations that you'd like to share with our audience? Whether it be about marketing or we just like Groundhog Day, so it's something different, but anything a bit more personal. What tools do you guys recommend?
Mickael.
Should I? You go?
Sure.
Well, things that work pretty well for us. I mean, nothing nothing so new, I guess. But yeah, we use Slack, the Google Suite, of course, and Freshdesk. And yeah, I think we try to keep it simple and at greatcontent at least. But things are working, and everybody's able to work with those tools very efficiently. And
having efficient tools is so important. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the same time, keeping it simple. So we tried out a lot of different other tools. I mean, I don't recommend one tool or the other, but just try also not to create a zoo of tools. Yeah,
because, you don't want too many.
No, because you will also spread out communication and attention around them. So that's what we're trying to have a healthy diet on tools as well.
For sure. And how about any platforms you recommend?
Well, I recommend, of course, our new platform for content, but I guess that's not the question you asked.
But hey, it's an answer, right?
I have to say that, right? Being responsible for marketing, now it's a great platform if you want to learn how to create content. But it really depends on what you want to do. I mean, YouTube is a great platform if you want to learn anything.
Yeah, we have a whole wealth of knowledge online nowadays.
Absolutely. And it's probably also something different to just watch a video for a while. But yeah, I mean, I think, Mickael, you're doing a HubSpot course, right, currently?
No, that was more last year that I did. So, over the last 2 years, I did a lot of HubSpot certification. You have for content marketing, inbound lead generation, and also email marketing. So yeah, I really like the format because there are videos in a very easy to understand English, and then you have some small exercise. You also have a lot of takeaways, such as SEO spreadsheet or stuff like that to also practice in the real life, which I did to be honest in my previous company. Also here with content, it brings
it really depends, right? It really depends what you want to learn, right? I mean, all the big platforms have great courses, right? I mean, Google has good certifications. Amazon has quite interesting certification if you want to get into it. So there's a lot of skill building platforms out there, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like the world's our oyster now. It's so amazing. Especially looking at online courses, you can learn anything. It's just fantastic.
No, literally. The other day, some colleagues showed me how to do origami because they learned it on a platform. And I was like, okay, that's really specific, but I really appreciate it.
Yeah, we can learn any skill we want.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we're coming to the end of our interview. Unfortunately, I really enjoyed our conversation today. But I wanted to ask both of you if you had any parting advice or final takeaways you'd like to share with our listeners.
So I'll start now, right?
Either way, it doesn't matter.
All right. So I think literally, I think I already said it. So I'm just going to say it again because repetition is very important in marketing, and that is because you're asking us for so much inspiration, and I always get asked, okay, what is source of inspiration and success, right? And I think it's super important to just get doing stuff, and another thing which I also noticed is not to look too much to the left and to the right who's doing what. So it's good to get an inspiration, but then really do your own thing and really also continue doing that. And especially if you can get lost in social media, so I'm not saying social media is bad or good, but if you are doing something, also try to take really not too serious who's doing what in your field and who's doing something else and who's criticizing you. Just keep on doing it, because at the end, having the failure or having the experiences here on the first hand is something which no inspirational content or any content can buy.
Exactly. So kind of like be your own inspiration.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And for you, Mickael?
Well, no, nothing much to add. I share pretty much the same vision as Vic. Sorry. Challenging yourself and bringing dedication to what you do, and you can never be wrong if you try. I mean, we tried with Vic together so many things in our structure over the last year. things failed. It was I'm younger, less experienced than Vic. Of course, I was sometimes hard to accept for me, but yeah, it's always like that. It's only like that that you can move forwards. And now I think we have also found a very efficient structure. Almost after a year, we try those new implementations. So it can take time sometimes, but yeah, if you go for it, then it should be.
If you're consistent and stick to your goals, it might take time, but hey, good things take time.
There's a payback.
Rome wasn't built in a day, as they said.
Exactly.
And a question I'm sure we're going to get, and I'll answer for our listeners now, is that how do we get in touch with you? What's the best way to connect or to keep in touch?
Well, LinkedIn. LinkedIn. We have our personal account, or also the Great Content LinkedIn account, or of course you can always sign up for our blog on our website.
Fantastic. And now at the end of the interview, I want to thank you both so much for taking the time to share your insights with us on the content mix. And I want to thank everyone for listening. For more perspectives on the content marketing industry in Europe, check out thecontentmix.com and keep tuning to the podcast for daily interviews with content experts. And we'll see you next time.